Hi folks, today we're going to do a quick review on filament dryers for 3D printers. I know this is a little outside my wheelhouse, but I just got my new 3D printer over there. You can see the Bamboo Labs P1S, which I absolutely love. Getting into 3D printing has been quite the eye-opener. You think you're just going to get a 3D printer until you wind up finding out you need this and you need that, and then you get filaments, and there's all these different types of filaments, all different brands, all different colors. And then you find out that you have print problems with certain filaments, so you have to dry it out. I never even considered that filament needed to be dried, but by the way, there's some people who argue that it doesn't. But I'm living proof that drying filament does make a difference. So the two units we're going to be comparing today for filament dryers are the Creality Space Pi, that's P-I. That's this guy right here. And we have the Sunlu. This is the 2024 model. I'll explain why that is in a minute. It's called the FilaDry 2. They both have similar type of functionality. They both work, but to me, there's a clear winner. I'll just let you know that I did pay for both of these out of my pocket. Neither one was given to me. So this review is completely unbiased. Right now, you'll find the Sunlu on Amazon for $64.99. And you'll find the Creality for, I believe it's $51. Now, both of these are version 2 models, I believe. There are previous models of both of these. Both of them are cheaper, but this is the latest offering from both. Amazon has the Sunlu S2, they call it. It has 825 ratings, and it's got 4.5 stars, which, you know, if it means anything anymore in Amazon, I have no idea. And the Creality Space Pi has 1,500 ratings for, again, 4.5 stars. Now, if you start looking deep into the reviews, you're going to get every kind of comments from this is a piece of junk to this is the best thing since sliced bread. You know, the way the reviews work on Amazon now is quite weird. You'll get stuff from other countries, and then it'll say, you know, it has 194 reviews of something, and then when you go to look at them, you can only see like 16 of them for some reason. I don't know where the other 170 something go, but the whole Amazon review thing, I think, is a waste of time anymore. I mean, it does give you, obviously, if you have something with all 1-star reviews, that's probably a good sign, or no reviews. But, you know, with something like this, once you get over 500, 600, 700 reviews, you really don't know what you're looking at anymore. So that's my take on the Amazon thing. So let's dive a little bit deeper into these devices, and I'll tell you what I think at the end. All right, so first, let's take a look at the Sunlu. The Sunlu is shaped like a roll of filament. The filament goes inside, and the Sunlu, this is the only one I've seen like this. It has a heater at the bottom. That's this metal part right here. It has a heater at the top. So it does heat at both ends, which is pretty good. But as we know, heat rises, so I don't know if some of this heat is getting more towards the top of the filament. Now, it does have rollers in it, which you can see right here. The rollers are so that you can actually have this hooked up directly to your printer. You can keep the filament inside it. It has 2 ports coming out the top. You can have the filament come out here and here. But I can tell you, I've tried this, and although I have an AMS on my printer, these do come out at kind of a weird angle. So whether you put it on the front one or the back one, it kind of comes up and has to make either a turn towards the front or a turn towards the back. So that's a little bit weird. I have seen some people modify them and drill holes kind of like, well, like this to make the filament come out straight this way rather than at this weird angle that it has there. Now, probably the biggest complaint I have about this device, they'll both work, as I said, but if you just bump the table, this thing's going over. it has probably the worst design for sitting on a table that I've ever seen. So if you have a table, shaky is the one I have here. This is one of those fold-up tables from Costco. It is very, very, very shaky. Again, I've knocked it over already, and I wondered if I broke it, but it still does work. Now, as far as the Creality, they have put much more thought into design. You can bump the table here, and bump it 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 and bump it, and it doesn't fall over. That is a good thing. The way that filament goes in is kind of like this. It opens up like giant jaws. It only has one heater, and that's down here. You'll see there's no heater up here. I'll get into why that might be a good or bad thing, but the good news is it does have a very straight path for the filament to come out. So it does have rollers, so if you're using this on your printer, the filament can come right out the top here, straight out, and there's no bend when it comes out the top here, because it's coming basically, filament's coming out there, and it comes straight out the top without any bending. So as far as ergonomics and usefulness, this will not get knocked over when you tap on it accidentally or otherwise. And it has a better feed for the filament. Now, staying on this one for a moment, one thing that these both have are fans. This one, the 2024 model, you'll see it on Amazon. It specifically says S2 2024 model with fan. So you definitely want to get that one. If there's one still around without the fan, you don't want that one. And this one has a fan, but it also has an inlet and an outlet. And I'll show you how they work in a second. This one, it has a fan in it, but you can't see it. There's no grate or any type. I can't see where the air is blowing in or out, but it does say it has a fan. I'm going to show you a couple of things when I hook these up to the power in a second here, how they work. But overall, you see very clearly the exhaust and the intake. I might have that backwards actually, but there's definitely a way for air to circulate here. So I'm going to plug these in real quick. I have an extension cord here with a power strip, and I got this on purpose. The Creality does not have a power brick outside, so the power supply is inside. There's no power brick, and you just have a single cord, so it's not taking up a lot of space on your power strip. Just plug it in, and you're good to go. This guy has a power brick, unfortunately, and it's huge. So if you put it over an outlet, you're going to lose both outlets. If you put it in a power strip like this, you're going to lose 3 outlets. So that's a big negative. Now, I purchased about 20 of these things on Amazon a while back. I'll have a link in the description below. These are 1-foot extension cords, and they're perfect for terribly designed power bricks. Just plug them in, whether it's 2 or 3 prongs. I think these come in a pack of a dozen or so. And now you have only a single outlet being used. Much better. I wish they would just have incorporated something like that. I don't know how much extra it would have cost, but definitely better than taking up 3 power strips. By the way, if you had one of those power strips where the outlets go the other way, right? How many would you be taking up? I don't know, 4 or 5. So again, not a good design there, but we're going to plug it in, and we're going to do a couple little tests. So now that I've got them plugged in, the first thing I'm going to do is try our Creality. I'll get into the usage in a minute here. So the Creality does have an extra power switch in the back. Turns on like so. You get a light in the front here, and simply by tapping it, you get the screen powers up and does everything it needs to do. Before we get into how all the settings work, I wanted to take a minute to show you how these fans work and how they sound. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this guy on. Now you probably heard it come on. We're looking at right from inside the unit. We have approximately what? 60 decibels, 60, 65, depending on what you're looking at here. I hope you can see that. And we also have quite a bit of airflow here. So watch this. This is just a regular bath tissue. You see how it's blowing that up? I mean, it would take it away like a little parasail. And it's also sucking in here like a vacuum. You see that? And blowing here. So it's got quite a powerful fan, and it does move a lot of air. You can feel the heat, and you can feel it moving the air all around. So you can imagine if this was closed, but that's being the intake and that the exhaust, it's blowing quite a bit of air. You can also feel air coming out of here, which is actually a good thing because you can feel the moisture will actually come out of here, which again is a good thing. So a lot of air movement. I don't know that it makes it different in this particular one that it doesn't have a heater right here. You can't feel any heat at the bottom of it, which in my opinion is good because all the hot air is just being circulated around and around and around and around. It's getting to all of the filament in and out. It's not just heating up the top layers, if you know what I mean. So that's the Creality. Let's turn that off for a second. Okay, now I'm going to turn on the Sunlu. To turn on the Sunlu, you have to tap this little guy twice. And it's already on. And it's already on because it has some pre-settings on it. And it remembers the last setting, whether you choose PLA, PETG, whatever. So that's a definite plus. It the Creality has that too, and it also remembers, but you actually have to select the time. This selects the time for you. The Sunlu does. So that's a good thing. Now I put this humidity gauge in there. I don't know if you can see that here. I just stuck that on there with some two-sided tape just to see if I could see from the outside how well it was working. Let's check the sound level on this one. I'm only showing 33 decibels. You can barely hear this fan, which of course is a good thing if you're in a shop as small as mine. But let's look for airflow. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that I can feel that this tissue is picking up as far as air moving around. I don't know where the air is moving actually. And maybe there's a little bit wiggle in the tissue right there. Maybe right on the edges right here, but whatever this fan is doing, it's not doing much. So basically what you have heating the filament is this thing here and this thing here. And it pretty much encompasses the entire filament, but it's only kind of heating up the top layers. The fan is there, which is great, but I really don't know what it's doing. Quieter? Yes. More efficient? I don't know. Also, because the fan's really not pushing any air, there are two holes in the top here for feeding filament, but you don't feel anything coming out of them. On this one, you certainly feel air coming out that top hole. On this one, not so much. I didn't want to make this into an actual instructional video. That might be for a different day, but let me just tap this on and off. It comes with a very brief manual, it's good enough, I guess, but you really don't need it. When you double tap this, once you figure out that's what you need to do to turn it on, very light double tap. You don't need to press very hard. You can hit set here and just cycle through. You can select material, PG, PLA, PC. And you can see it changes the temperature. It changes the duration. And it says it's recording the relative humidity. So of inside the unit. I don't think it does that very well because here it says 56, my internal one, I don't know if you can see that there, maybe not, it's really dark in there, says 40 or 39, so it's 5 points off. And when I was running the filament, I saw it go down, but ever so slightly compared to the one inside. So I don't know how accurate that thing is. But pretty much that's it. It's very simple. You can change the time, you can change the temperature, or you can just simply select the material and let it do that for you. Now, if you had material that's already dried, obviously you don't need to put it on 5 hours or whatever, change it to 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever you happen to require. That's pretty much it. It's very simple. Again, double tap, turns it off. Now the Creality screen is a little bit more difficult to see, especially in bright light, so I have to really get this up close to the camera. But this turns off and on just by a slight tap here. And as opposed to the Sunlu, you cycle through the PA, PLA, PETG right here, but you then have to come down here and set the time. And that's when it kicks on. So again, this is not an instructional video, but you get the idea. So it's one extra step, it's one extra click, so to speak, if you're talking PC wise, but it works basically the same way. There's nothing you could mess up in it. It does remember what you selected last, so if you selected PLA last, it'll come back on to PLA. If you want further instructions on this, it's all over the internet. Help yourself. So you probably can already tell where I was heading with this. I think it's pretty obvious that my clear winner is the Creality. Not only for form and function, but for real world results. I had some Elegoo PETG, 2 brand new rolls. This removed 4 grams of moisture in 2 hours. The Sunlu took 4 hours. And I weighed that on a scale. I wasn't using any humidity gauges. So that's the real proof in the pudding, right? So I can't think of anything I don't like about this. And I can think of a lot of things I don't like about this one. End result, it's cheaper. It's a little louder. I shouldn't say I can't think of anything. So it is a little louder by 20 decibels. So it's a lot louder. In any case, I'll take that and have it work faster and have it work better and have a lot better design than the Sunlu. I wanted to like the Sunlu, but unfortunately it's a thumbs down for me. The Creality, thumbs up. You did a great job with this device. I'm not going to get more than one of these, so I'm probably keeping both of them. This will be my go-to. And since I have an AMS, if I come to need to dry 2, I'll just make sure I start this one a little sooner. Anyway, that's it. I plan to do a review on the P1S by Bamboo, which I absolutely love. And I'll give you a novice's opinion on getting into 3D printing and all the ups and downs and all the stuff that I had to figure out and software I had to learn and whatnot. It was a real eye-opening experience. Anyway, that's it for these 2 guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe below. I'll have links to all of these devices. They're associate links. I get a small stipend from Amazon. You don't pay a penny more. So please use the links. It helps me out. It helps to keep the channel going. Thank you, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.